Well, hello. I'm Simon Barrett, a writer, producer, director of mostly independent genre films. You know, as a physical media collector over the years, you know, like a lot of my friendships with other filmmakers have come about, like our obsessive collecting and hoarding of this stuff. And, you know, Severin's always been one of my favorite companies. And I think, like, one of the great things about them is, you know, like whether it's Combat Shock or Enigma, you know, these are all films that I've owned multiple editions of, but I feel like when Severin puts them out, you get the definitive edition. And so that always soothes my neurotic brain. So when it comes to some of my favorite Severin releases, I tend to like the films that were discoveries for me. This is one, Dark Harvest and Escapes, that I'd never heard of before. I bought this at just some sale when, you know, the Severin website was working. You know, sorry, I had to get that in there.
Sometimes you can be such an asshole.
I love this movie. Like, this is the kind of film that inspires me because I love Killer Scarecrow movies. I love movies made randomly off the grid. And this one really holds together surprisingly well. They both do. Dark Harvest and Escapes are both really entertaining movies. And so for me, this is the kind of stuff that, like, you know, just completely lights up my synapses when I see something like it.
Going my way!
Obviously, we have to talk about Kathy's Curse. I'm on this Blu-ray contributing to a commentary track. If you don't own this, you don't care about cinema, and you probably live in like a bog somewhere, and there's no point in like me trying to reach you. Yeah, we can move on.
Mommy's gone. She's taken George with her.
Your mother's a bitch. She'll pay for what she did to you.
Dark Waters. I'm not usually a nunsploitation fan. Kind of like Nazi exploitation. It's just something that, like, I tend to find it a little dull. I get why people enjoy it, but it's just not personally my thing. There's always exceptions, though. You know, like for every, you know, boring movie, there's a movie like The Beast in Heat that like is amazing. And for nunsploitation, there's movies like The School of the Holy Beast, and then Dark Waters, which again is a film that I had never really heard about until Severin uncovered it. It's incredibly well done, but it's a beautiful kind of Lovecraftian art horror film, just impeccably made, and one of these movies that is so ready to be rediscovered. You know, if you're a fan of Dagon, anything of that nature, I really recommend checking this movie out. It's a little slow, it's a little pretentious. I love it. Oh, Cruel Jaws. Oh, geez, you just have these copies of Combat Shock everywhere. They're in the way. Oh, now this is a movie.
Get out of the water, quick! Get out! Get out! Stay calm!
Obviously, this is one that I never thought would get a Blu-ray release. This is a movie that I just heard about. Do I recommend the viewing experience of Cruel Jaws? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely recommend it. Here's one that is actually sold out in the Severin cellar, but we have a VHS copy to represent it. Invasion of the Blood Farmers, which they have a wonderful Blu-ray of. I remember reading about this, I believe in Stephen Thrower's Nightmare USA, was the first place I heard of this extraordinary film made by, you know, some exploitation film legends. But you never know what you're gonna get with those, you know, right? Like, some of them are like really fun and engaging, some of them are just like utterly tedious. This is a fun one. There's not a single choice this film makes that is not sublime and also inexplicable. Pure filmmaking. I love it, and I've seen it many times thanks to Severin. Again, this is one I'd only read about. Couldn't track down a copy myself. Obviously couldn't find whatever this is. But happy to have the new transfer.
We may be on the brink of a great discovery.
I can't even see what you have here. Oh, here we go. What can we say about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 that hasn't already been said? Of course, the film inside this is Nightkiller. I cannot imagine the audience member who went to go see this movie as Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 and got Nightkiller. But I also can't imagine the audience member who just saw Nightkiller.
Hey, bud, what happened to your clothes?
I got molested in the little boy's room.
It opens with a dance scene, the choreography of which has to be seen to be believed, and it just goes up from there.
While you shoot yourself, try to, I'm gonna eat.
When the film finally reveals what may or may not be its plot, you will have so many more questions. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Beautiful movie. And obviously you can't go wrong with this slipcover. Suffer Little Children. So I think people who know me kind of get that I have a particular affinity for shot on VHS horror films or shot on video horror films. Obviously I worked on VHS and VHS 2, which were kind of trying to throw back that style, and we shot, Adam Wingard and I shot parts of the first VHS on old VHS cameras to try to capture that authenticity. And particularly the kind of film that we were trying to imitate, although I hadn't actually seen this film yet because Severin hadn't put it out yet, is Suffer Little Children, which, I mean, I can't really explain this. It seems to be a film, as far as I can tell, made by a school teacher starring his class, but it's a horror movie that makes extraordinary choices and does not skimp on the violence. This is another one that, like, I really can't recommend enough. Like, if you care about cinema, if you care about art, you kind of have to have watched this at least, I'm gonna say 30 times.
Well, at least we'll have a quiet evening at home.
So the thing is, like, normally I'd be most excited about grabbing some things off the shelves for myself, but you know, this is kind of the only thing I actually spend my own money on, and I pretty much have everything here I want. I might just take like a couple little things, just maybe to kind of put up online somewhere. But other than that, I'm pretty good. Simon Barrett signing off from the Severin Cellar. Thank you so much for having me.